Underway. All right, so good morning. For the record, I'm Chris Young, Chair of the HDC Sign Advisory Council. Let's confirm access. Members, please respond with an aye when I call your name. Paul Wolf.
Yeah, aye.
Ben Norman.
Here.
And Mark Catone.
Aye.
Thanks. And staff, we have Esmeralda Martinez.
Present.
Thanks. So this open meeting of the HDC SAC is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. That order, posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to convene remotely so long as public access to deliberations is reasonably provided. This meeting is convening via Zoom with video and audio recording, and we are being broadcast on the town's YouTube channel with no member of the public having asked to speak. Is that correct? We have no, well, we will feature public comment if necessary. Materials provided to members for the meeting or provided during the meeting are, unless otherwise noted, available on the town's website. During the meeting, I'll introduce the agenda topics and speakers. Please remember to mute your Zoom audio until your name is called. And let's direct comments and questions through the chair to avoid crosstalk and make taking of minutes easier. Votes will be conducted by roll call. With that said, let's move on to the meeting. We'll call it to order at 9:05 on March 29th, 2022. And do we have an approval of our agenda?
So moved.
Thanks, Paul. And a
Second
second.
that.
Thanks, Ben. Mark, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul
Aye.
and Ben?
Aye.
And I am as well. Thank you very much. I don't believe, did we get minutes for the last meeting, Esmeralda? I'm sorry if we did, I didn't see them.
No, not yet.
Okay. Great. So is there anybody here for public comment that isn't related to an application on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the first application for Stop and Shop. And do we have anybody on the line for that?
Christina Morrow from Agnoli Sign Company.
Thanks,
So,
Christina. Go ahead,
Basically,
introduce us to this.
basically, Stop and Shop has those 3 signs on their building currently, as you can see with the existing. And all they want to do is change them to their new logo. They have a new logo they branded about 2 years ago. And the signs will remain exactly the same colors. The only thing different is their corporate branded logo, which you see right there on the picture with the 2 circles and the Stop and Shop instead of the fruit bowl.
Okay. We've used the Stop and Shop signage as an example of how corporations have worked with us in the past to sort of bend their, obviously their color scheme, for example, is not black and gold across the country, but so we appreciate that. And they've always been very cooperative in that sense. The font I see here is all block letters. Is that part of their new branding? Is it possible that we could remain with the old font and just replace the graphic?
Well, that is their new font, the block letters. It takes them back to history 10 years ago. That's what they had originally. I don't know if you remember. The fruit bowl's gone. The 2 circles are back, and the bold letter, the Stop and Shop just in a block letter, is back. What were you looking for them to do?
Okay. I just was asking the question if that was essential. So I'll go across the board members, let everybody weigh in, and we'll see how what everybody's opinions are. So Mark, would you like to start?
Admittedly, I don't love the change. I do appreciate the original design, which was only a few years ago, where we had the serif fonts. It softens it. This is a you know, it's a large building. These, I think going a little softer with the signage on it always helps. I can appreciate if there's a logo change, I guess, in terms of the graphic portion, which I think you were hinting at, Chris. If they're no longer doing the fruit bowl and that they need to go back to the stoplight. I actually prefer this logo. I think this is great. Goes back to when I was a kid. So I think maybe the compromise I would be proposing is maybe there's a change in the graphic, but that the font style remains consistent with the original or the sign that's present there today, and consistent with the gold and the black approach as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Ben?
I absolutely agree with Mark. I think I have no problem with the graphic change, but the font should stay as existing.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
I agree with both Ben and Mark.
Great. And I think you can tell by my introductory remarks, I agree as well. So would you like to go back to them and say that we could motion for approval with the assumption that the font stays the same, or
And then I just change the graphic. I
Yeah.
can swap the.
And you can
football
change the
out with
graphic.
two circles. Yeah, okay.
right?
If they
right.
were okay with the serif type that
Yeah.
you created 10 years ago, then they should be fine.
Yeah, if the other option is we just hold for revisions, you can go back and talk to them and then come back, because if we approve it, it'll sort of close out the application. And if they say no, you'd have to, file for a new application, which is just paperwork and a fee. So if you want to hold
No,
for revisions, or we can close it now.
I'll make the change and we'll do it that way. It's existing now and they were okay with it then, so.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
I motion to make that approval with the font to stay as existing, but the swap of the logo.
Second.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Paul, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben
Aye.
and Mark?
Aye.
And I am as well. Okay. Thank you very much. So we would ask that you submit that
new drawing.
change graphically so that the file, but with the assumption that that's going to be what we see, we'll send it up to the full board but for the file, we'd like to have that on file.
Okay, I'll send that in.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Moving on, we have Blue Flag Development at 10 Hussey Street with a projecting sign. Is anybody from Plymouth Sign on the line? Esmeralda, do you know if anybody was planning to attend?
Yeah, I sent them the agenda and told them to be here at 9 a.m. Don't see them in queue.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just look through the application, see if we can understand what they're doing here. And maybe
I don't see an application.
Is this a preliminary, Esmeralda, or is this just a?
No, he emailed me what he was proposing and the application's in the mail, he said. So,
Oh. I think we need to see the application just so that we can dot all the i's and cross t's with colors and materials. So
fair enough.
Well,
We can hold
yeah.
this.
let's hold this for the next meeting.
Moved.
All right. So do we have a second on that? I guess we'll make it
Second.
official. Mark, you're in favor?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Great. Holding for
I do have a
representation.
question. I do have a question. Is there something in that building now that's different? Does
It's an
anybody?
old boarding house, isn't it? Or not boarding house, but it's an old bed and breakfast.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
I don't recognize that location.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll find out next week.
Yeah,
It
right.
is an old bed and breakfast. I forget the name of it, but it was.
I think I know what it was. I
Okay.
can see it now, yeah.
Let's go to 23 Broad Street, projecting sign with emeritus. Is this the Brotherhood? It is. Is anybody on from emeritus? Or to represent this?
I don't see anyone here for Emeritus. Same thing. I sent them the agenda, told them to be here at 9 a.m.
Okay. Well, let's look here. We've got a wood carved sign painted for the size is proper. And let's look at where they're proposing this. Okay. All right. Does anybody have comments that they want to make about this? Paul, start with you.
Yes, it looks to me as though it's a modernization of the old sign, but I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, Mark?
Yeah, I would agree with Paul. Can I assume that this whole thing is now painted versus the original was carved? Do we have that
Oh,
information?
yeah,
I think so. I think
did.
it says painted.
Did you say that?
it does. I thought it said carved materials.
Painted?
Right, just painted flat paint.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for the record, I think the original sign had a lot more character and interest, but I can't say that the proposal or the proposed sign is non-compliant to the guideline. I guess it's fine.
Okay, and Ben?
Nothing further to add.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the old sign was a piece of art, and this is an unfortunate revision, but it does comply with the guidelines. Do we want to make a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Paul. You in favor?
Aye,
And Ben
Aye.
and Mark?
Aye.
And I am as well. Okay. Thanks, Esmeralda. Let's go back over to NIR. We have two applications. Are they at the same location? We might want to look at both simultaneously. Is anybody on for? NIR.
Yes, he is here, and well, he can explain, but
Okay,
I'll let him talk.
all right. Thanks.
Good morning, Chair and committee board members. So yes, we have two packages that we have submitted. One is our replacement of existing signs, the corner board signs on the cottages. And the second would be a new additional sign, which is the intent would be to add a sign on the reception offices for the cottages. If you want, the first package represents the cottages. And again, these would be the corner boards, replacement of existing to make them all like, kind, and similar in style. These are the names of all the, what you're showing there is the names of all the different cottages. They range in size to
Okay.
accommodate the, the amount of letters that are within.
Okay, and just to be clear, every one of these signs is replacing an existing sign that
That
is
is
there.
correct.
Is that correct? There's no.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep. So here's the wayfinding. So
And
it's,
generally, okay, generally speaking, are they the same size as the existing signs that are up?
no, some of the signs, if you go through some of the pictures, some of them have, curvatures. So that one there, for instance, see how that one's curvatured? The replacement would be a straight sign. To be
Got it.
consistent with the rest of them. So with that being stated, it would be, longer. And there are a couple, as you scroll through the pictures, the intent is also to put them all in similar locations. So there are some so this one here that you're on, if you click that next picture, so that one's up above, and where we'd want to put it is down below, so it's easily seen.
Okay,
question?
go ahead, Paul.
I'm assuming this is becoming a master sign plan for all the cottages. And if that's the case, and we should call it that, by the way, if that's your intent, Dennis, but the, does that mean when the next guy comes in and rents Zenus, or somebody changes the name of the cottage, that the new sign will be the same as the existing ones?
I'm not sure if I follow. So these signs are, these buildings, for instance, these cottages, the names are to remain the same.
Okay, so, all right, you've answered my question.
Mark, do you have any comments?
It's similar to the last application. In some ways, I think there's a lot more character and charm. Actually, seeing the original signage, I think that the individual signage a little more akin to what you might find on the wharf, and versus the exact same sign being stamped out however many times along the wharves. And it's unfortunate to kind of lose that charm, I think. Like a little thought was given to each sign from what we can see in the photos. I don't know that our guidelines would, however, not permit their application to move forward if they're looking to make them all the same. It comes off very commercial, I think. I understand why they're trying to do it, I think, in terms of branding and consistency and property identification for guests being able to clearly recognize an our property. So I guess I have no qualms with the application other than I think it's an unfortunate change, I think, in the signage characteristics. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's our hope, it's obviously, it's to look at it twofold. Your point is extremely valid, and I think the hope is that it would add a clean look to the cottages, and trying to maintain that character, but as you stated, make it more recognizable.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I think, it's probably outside of our jurisdiction, but homogenizing all these signs is a real lack loss of character, and it's turning into a phony situation, but it's not. I think that's outside of our jurisdiction. So with heavy heart, I don't think we can say no.
I might ask, if I may, just a question, assuming this goes forward. What will become of all the old signs?
They'd be removed and more than likely discarded. We do have a couple of people that have reached out, somebody from the office there at the building department that had requested one of them, for instance.
I guess I only ask because sometimes these old signs, and I know they're not that old, but I think they're kind of interesting, and they're very sort of Nantucket in terms of the names and such. And I'm sure somebody would love to get their hands on these and add them to a collection. I know that there's a couple of spots in, between is it the Chicken Box or the Muse? One of them collect. It's Chicken Box, right? Collects.
Yeah, the Chicken Box has them.
It'd be nice.
The
if
NHA has a collection.
Yeah, if they come down, it'd be nice if they did exist somewhere else, so they could at least be appreciated. I think they're really kind of charming, and it's an unfortunate loss. And if we could find a new home for them somewhere, again, that's not going to have any bearing on your application, but it's a suggestion. Maybe reaching out to Hockey Fox and see if there's an interest in him taking some of them, that maybe they have a home for him or another collector.
Absolutely. Some of them, as you can probably imagine, are worse than others in the sense that I'm not sure how many pieces they'll come down in, but there are quite a few that we should be able to get down whole, and I will definitely take your idea.
Even a box on the street corner, that thing will be empty in half a day, because old signs are charming, so. Yeah, please don't throw them away.
All right, so does anybody want to make a motion on this application?
And I'm sure it was read in early on. Are these carved, painted? What are the new signs?
If you go up
Oh,
to
yeah, can we go
the,
back to the,
there you go. Oh, no, yeah.
okay.
So they'll have an inlay, as you see, raised frame.
Looks like these are almost identical to the one that's on the White Elephant. Is it the loft? The one on
Yeah.
Straight Wharf?
That's correct, yes.
All right, any other questions opening up to the board?
No.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
No.
Paul, are
Motion.
you,
I'll make a motion to approve.
okay?
I'll second
We have
it.
a s-
Reluctantly.
Okay, Ben, Mark, are you in favor?
Sure.
And Ben,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
okay, I am as well. So let's take a look at the new sign application.
I have a comment on
Okay.
old signs. I don't know what their office looks like. They might consider putting them on the wall inside their office if they have such a space. I don't know.
Right, I was
Well,
thinking
that's-
that too, that'd be kind of
Yeah,
clever.
that's actually this next building, that's coming up now. So
Not
this
on
is
the outside, on the inside.
Oh, no. You don't want me to load up the outside of the building? This next building, and that is, something that we can look at as well. Look at options. I feel the desire from this committee on the old one. So I will definitely take that into account for options for the old signs. This next signage package, or the sign here that you see presented, is for the reception building. You'll see that it is a wall sign. We feel that it fits within the guidelines of this committee, and it's the hope to add this again for wayfinding. Currently, it's tough for guests to find the area, and we feel this will be of assistance and add to the theme of the boat basin.
For starters, I'll just say this is 27 square feet. The maximum size for any wall sign would be 20 square feet. And I believe we also have a height restriction for any wall sign, which I'd have to look in the guidelines. So I think from a starting point, it's too big before we get into the aesthetics of it.
Chris, I completely agree with everything you just said. I will say that building is super weird.
Yes.
It's a windowless, dormered, second-story facade. So I do want to be sensitive. I think actually this is a rare situation where a sign is going to help this building. And I think actually going on the smaller side may not be in the best interest of this visually. I don't know the details of the construction and fabrication of the sign yet. I'm hoping it's carved, at least it got some detail to it, but it is carved. Okay. So I'm just more open. Our guidelines are just that, they are guidelines. And I think there are exceptions to the rule where appropriate. And this might be one of them. The graphic of as long as it's accurate, the sign on the facade, if we go back to that next page, it's page 6, I think. Looks appropriately scaled, in my opinion. The other members may not feel the same, but There's a lot of shingle space on that facade, and without any kind of fenestration, it's almost screaming for something like this. So, and it
Yeah,
sits off the wharf. I know it's a public way. I'm not saying it's not visible, but it's not on a street or vehicular access. It's back in, and I think also, if I'm not mistaken, this space is kind of almost not quite interior, but it's not facing onto the water. It faces maybe in the direction of sub 14 or something in that direction.
that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And since I'm speaking, I guess I don't have any concerns with the design otherwise. But that's my 2 cents on the scale. Anyway, thank you.
Ben?
I agree with Mark again. Me and Mark are on the same wavelength today. I think the windowless dormer like this kind of screams for something. And I think if that picture is to scale, I think it works really well. So I'm willing to bend on the guidelines for this one.
Okay, Paul?
Question, what is the sign on the lower left-hand side of the upper floor hanging down?
If you could pull up on the lower left.
Yeah,
So that says that's the reception sign.
it's what?
That's,
Reception?
yes.
What does that mean compared to the big sign you want on the wall?
So that is a protruding sign that dictates for the guest to know that that's the reception building.
And how do we get to the reception room? Go through these double doors?
Yes, that is correct.
So, and then there's a sign over the doors as well.
That states the cottages. That one, in theory, would probably be removed.
So we would only have 2 signs on the building. If I'm correct. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Let me go back to Paul. You were,
Yeah,
you asked.
I agree with Mark and Ben, but I think one of those 2 other signs has to be removed. And I have another question. Would it make any sense to lower the oval shaped sign down, a foot or 2? So it's more, I don't know, it's not so hot in the air.
You're thinking
that
more
make sense?
centered.
Yeah,
The vent, what's the green over the left door?
I
box?
believe that is a vent.
Yeah. I guess it's just a matter of how much lower you go with it without it creating tension. So it's not too tight to that.
Right. We might be able to
I think you drop a
split the
few inches,
difference,
but-
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I value your points. I believe the sign, the designers, they were, even though the size is a little larger than typical, they were trying to, fill the void, fill the space.
Yeah. I would
Okay,
make a
guys.
motion for approval.
Mark.
Oh, sorry, Chris, you have some comments?
Yeah, I want to weigh in with my thoughts because I'm going to be the curmudgeon today. I don't. Yeah, I understand what you guys are saying about scale on this facade. I just feel like this is truly a billboard that we're creating. And if the sign had to be an oval, then yes, this might be the appropriate scale. But I'd like to step back and say that I think the design could be reimagined. I'm kind of thinking of a banner, maybe a curved banner with sort of, returning little ends as if it were a flag waving. You know what I'm saying? If with a graphic in the middle, something of the Billy Rowe kind of design scheme that he used to use with some of his signage. I think we could go a little bit more historic, or at least give it some more character than a giant oval. If it's an oval, I see how the scale works, but I just don't know if we need to approve an oval because it's being presented to us. I just feel like this is really stepping out. Going from 20 square feet to 27 is not a minor bending of the rules, and it is really going to glare as a for anybody that sees it. I just want to ask them to reimagine the sign, at least give us some other options to consider, because it's, in my opinion, not the right precedent to be setting, regardless of how weird this building is to start with. I think, you know, what we did with the cottages, that was sort of quarter boards. It's hard to say that homogenizing all the cottages is in our jurisdiction, or that we could say anything about it being in our jurisdiction, but this is clearly in our jurisdiction. So I'd like to try to preserve some character down here. That's my opinion.
Thanks, Kevin.
So, and along those lines, yeah, I know. Along those lines, I also think that, is this application asking for all, like the projecting sign at the same time as it's asking for the wall sign?
No, it is not.
It's not, okay. When the time comes, I think the projecting sign having an oval graphic and the wall sign having an oval graphic being basically on the same facade is unnecessary. But let's focus on the wall sign. So
I don't know. I still am of the opinion that maybe this is a fair approach. I'm visualizing something smaller that's compliant to the guideline. I just feel like that's a lot of shingles space. This is not a building, if applied for today, that would actually be approved by the HDC. They would require fenestration, not facade in some way. I actually think that the oval approach, given the rectilinear nature of the building, is not a bad thing in terms of softening the lines a little bit. And we are calculating it based, I think, on the overall box. You know, the area itself, obviously, and that's how we calculate these, I understand that. But it's actually a slightly smaller sign than that because of its shape. I'm still comfortable with the proposal, and for the reasons stated, I was going to make a motion to approve as filed with the removal of the sign over the door, and that we would like to see an application come forward, maybe for that projecting sign on the building. That too is to be altered. I do agree with Chris on the comment about sort of replicating the same graphic in smaller scale. I think there's maybe a more creative approach there. I don't know that the logo has to repeat again, but maybe it's simply, you know, just something that says cottages or what have you. I don't know if the other members still feel the same.
okay.
Can I make a quick comment on this? You know,
Ben?
Chris, I definitely want to make sure you're comfortable with this too. So I don't want to move forward without getting everybody on board. One thing I did the math on, you know, it's 4.5 by 6 feet is 27 square feet, but this is not a rectangle. So I would be curious to know what the actual square footage of the circular or, oval sign is, and if we could get that to 20 square feet, I think then you'd be in the guidelines. So I'd be curious to know what that oval is. You know, if we can get that oval to 20 square feet, then I think that hopefully, you know, at least Chris, at least it falls within our guidelines. Whether we like it or not, I'm not sure, but so that would be maybe one way to at least get it into our guidelines.
Okay, Paul?
I really don't have any further comments.
Okay.
I think it's approvable, so.
Okay, well, I am, I'm just one voice, so Ben, don't worry about me being, my feelings being hurt. I expressed my opinion. So we all serve at the pleasure of the board's majority. So if somebody would like to make a motion.
I would motion to approve as filed with the removal of the sign over the door and a request that an application be filed for an update on the projecting sign for the cottages.
Mark, could you also add just a stipulation that we're approving the sign size due to the nature of the building or?
Yeah, absolutely. That this does fall outside our guidelines in terms of max area. But this building is somewhat unique. In fact, it's completely windowless, and therefore this application might be appropriate in this unique situation.
I'll second that.
Okay, Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Mark
Aye.
and Paul?
Aye.
Okay, I will dissent, but 3-1, we will send it up. So it is approved. And then we would like to see a separate application for the projecting sign.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to this committee.
All right, thank you. And so we have Pip and Anchor at 14 Amelia Drive.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Hi, I'm sorry. This is Mike from Plymouth Sign Company. I got caught in traffic and that was the number 2, the blue flag, 10 Hussey Street.
Okay. Mike, we had
Wait to the
held,
end.
yeah, we can pick that back up at the end. We're close to the end. So we'll go through 2 more applications and come back to you.
Thank you. So just stay online?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Do we have Ethan from Griffin Architects on the line?
Hi, I'm here, but I believe Chris Sleeper from Pippin Acre is going to do the presentation. I'm just here. if there's
Okay,
any
thanks.
Further questions.
All right, Chris, you have the floor.
Morning, everyone. I'm not seeing the screen share anymore.
See if Esmeralda can take over that.
You can share if you like, or I can share what.
Yeah, do you just mind pulling it back up the presentation? Cool. All right, so we are taking over, or have already taken over, where Annie's was on Amelia Drive, 14 Amelia Drive. And we are proposing window signs on the front right of the building, street facing. As you can see there in that proposed location, the building is a 3 condo building, and we are unit 1 on the bottom right there. There are five large windows on the front, and there's 2 of the smaller of the large windows. But yeah, the proposed signs are in the 2 right windows. Sort of, we wanted to keep it lower to have it sort of eye level with the amount of foot traffic, and as well as the building that's happening on Waite Drive. There will be a lot more residency in the area, so we wanted to make it more visible for those that are walking by, and also wanted to keep it under 15% on the proposed windows, like the book entails.
Okay, and are these the only signs that you're going to be proposing for the building?
Yeah, for this proposal. We may do down the road something else like Annie. I think you can see it actually on this photo, like Annie had that little sign there. We might do something down the road, but we're not applying for that right now.
Okay. Let's see. So Mark, do you want to open up?
I'll hold till the next. I'll go next.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Paul?
Yeah, this is a multiple unit building, I believe. Is there a master sign plan for that? I don't think so.
I don't think so. So Clark Brothers, I believe, has a sign up. Is that correct?
I don't
Yes,
recall.
Yeah, they have a sign right now during construction.
Where is
Oh,
it
okay.
located?
Construction sign.
They're our general
Gotcha.
contractor.
Okay, gotcha.
What is the sign over over the next door?
Is that the old Annie's?
To the left of
That's
your
our-
building.
Oh, that's the old Andy sign. That's just an older picture. That's
So
not
what's
there.
gonna
anymore.
go in there?
Nothing. So that was more central. Annie had it more central. And that's the center of the building. It still is, where she had it was still over her side of the building, but there's no other signage on the building for the other units.
So that's coming down, or it is down?
Yeah, it's no longer there. She took it with her.
All right, I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Ben?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't recall our stance on these window signs. They definitely exist. I don't know how many of them get applied for. You know, I think it's a very subtle way to sign this business, so I'm fine with it. I'm just worried that you might ultimately find it's not enough, and now you're gonna apply for more signage, which would complicate things, but this proposal seems fine. And Chris, do we have guidance on these window signs? I just can't remember.
Yes, you
Oh,
do.
we did.
Yeah, we do.
25% of the window area, is that right?
15.
15, I think.
15.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think they count as signage. So in a sense, this is the two signs for the business, basically, meaning that each window is a sign. So the business has a maximum of two signs. So if a wall sign wanted to go up or a projecting sign at some point, one of these would have to come down. And it is a little bit of a bending of the rules, because the rules say you can use one window sign in combination with, a projecting sign or a wall sign. Here, we're just saying both are going to be window signs. I think that's fine. Like you say, it's a pretty subtle application. But to the applicants, know that future sign applications will require this to be modified. And I think, to Paul's point, this is being a multi-tenant building, we should ask for a master sign plan so that the other two applicants, or the other two tenants, will have their opportunity to know where their signage is going to be. So it would, are the current tenants, the other tenants, keeping the signage they have? It's a question to Chris or Ethan.
Yeah, one has signage on the other side of the building on the parking lot side. It also happens to be window signs, just like ours. But it was not street facing, so we didn't feel the need to take a picture of that. And then the other is a residential unit up top, so there's no signage there. It's like the rest of Amelia Drive. It's commercial underneath residential.
Got it. And it's like as a financial advisor or something, am I right?
Yep,
Is
correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're aware of the fact that the two signs allowed for your business are being applied for right now. If you decided to put a sign like Annie's has, you'd be removing one of your window signs. That's
Yep.
If the guidelines are being upheld. Okay. Any other questions? Mark, did you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything new to add. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
Okay, thanks. Mark, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
And I am as well. So thank you guys, Chris and Ethan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. And we have NIR is back with 40 Straight Wharf. Is sign here on the line?
Hi, yes, I'm on the line.
Great. Tell us about this application.
So this is for Native Shoes. Basically, they're just kind of revamping their current sign. It will be a new sign, but it's the same size as their old sign, which is pictured in slide 3. The main changes would be the color and the wording underneath native. So it's fairly simple change.
Okay. Mark, do you want to start on this one?
Do we have the original sign? Sorry, was it in here? To compare it to? That was the original.
Yes, that's the original.
It was black and white, and we're going to the blue and white. Is that really?
Yeah. Yep.
Can we click on the new one again, please? Yeah, thanks. Hmm. I'm going to ask a weird question. Do we approve the first one?
I would
It's
assume you
just,
did.
it's
I did
lower.
not make.
Sorry, what was your answer?
I would assume so. Yes, we didn't make the first one. I would assume you had approved it. Yes. The building owners are very involved in this, so I would assume that they have applied for the first one already.
It's a little atypical, a sign design, even the original. That's why I asked the question, being lowercase, non-serifed. A lot of white space. I guess those are my comments. I'll
Okay.
what the rest of the board says, yeah.
All right. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, the native is clearly a logo. So that live lightly is a slogan. I don't really know where live lightly stands in this, but that native lettering or area needs to be a 15% of the sign, which I think is why there's a lot of white on the sign. And if that's the case, as long as that's 15% of the sign, I'm okay with it as a logo, because it clearly is a logo.
Okay, Paul?
My only concern is the color blue. I think it's a little light. It's not one of our approved colors, I don't believe. I would think a deeper blue, closer to a navy, would be more appropriate. I don't
Okay,
know if that's a problem or not.
So is the blue color specific to something, or is that just a blue that was picked?
So the blue is like their brand color. That's their first preference. However, if it's not an allowable color, they are open to switching to black, like the first sign.
I don't think this is an appropriate blue. We've had a lot of trouble with blues.
Okay. I think that the native, just my comment would be, it's less than 15% of the size of the sign. So I think it's approvable for that reason from a logo point of view. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve, but lettering and banding to be black.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Sorry, are you, Bennett, was your motion to approve, but no blue, but change it to black?
Yeah. Sound like the,
Very similar to what was there. Sounds like, right?
yeah.
Just.
Yeah, it's the wording underneath would be different, really.
Right. Yeah, I might support that as well. I'm not loving the blue unless they want to come back with us with a far more muted color option. Given it's a sort of non-traditional and we are looking at a logo. So I would support Ben's motion. Second.
It's a second. Okay. Paul, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Mark?
Aye.
And Ben?
All right.
And I am as well. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
That is approved with black. Thank you.
While I have the floor, can I missed
Yes.
the opportunity at the beginning of the meeting to ask a quick question. I don't know if that option still
Sure.
stands to ask a question.
Yeah, sure. Take it.
Okay, so as you know, we applied for a sign advisors living. If you need a reference photo, I have a picture, but that's at 117 Pleasant Street. So the location that was approved, unfortunately, for circumstances that we can't control, won't work. The tenant does not want to screw into her sign. Her sign costs a lot of money and she's not willing to do that. So I kind of just need a little bit of guidance on what you would want to see for a new location.
Okay, so that was the one where it was Story Financial that we were talking about piggybacking with, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody on the board have a suggestion? And we had approved it, assuming that she would allow that, correct? Is that sort of how this application was closed out? Okay,
Yes, that's
so, gotcha. So this is you'd be applying for a change. I believe at one time we were talking about using the quarter board or the corner board that is sort of in line with Sue's, with the Story Financial.
Yeah.
Does the board have a feeling about that?
You know, I was actually wondering if we'd be okay with for them to add a really slender arm below Story Financial and have their sign there. So they're stacked up on top of each other, kind of as it was approved, but just with a new arm rather than attaching them together.
Yeah, like something like a pole or something that doesn't have a angle coming off the top of it.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
the same.
Okay. Paul, how do you feel about that?
Fine, no problem.
So, okay. That is basically the same application and really it's changing the armature. So the location, design, everything else would stay the same. Should we, for paperwork reasons, would you submit that so that we can put it through the process? But I think that's
Sure.
pretty solid approach.
Sure. So just so I'm clear, that's having a separate arm underneath Story Finance with her sign?
Yeah, fairly close, I think, so that it kind of reads as one sign, not a foot or two below the existing sign, but yeah.
Okay,
And
sure.
we'll be able to review that when we see it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great, thanks. All right, I apologize, I don't remember the gentleman's name from.
Yes, it's Mike
Plymouth
Cagno
Sign.
from Plymouth Sign. Yeah, Mike Cagno
Mike.
from Plymouth Sign.
Thanks,
Company.
Mike.
I apologize. On my way into work, a lot of traffic, so I missed the beginning. I apologize for that. But I am for the Blue Iris at 10 Hussey Street.
Okay, so Mike, one thing is we haven't actually received the application yet, the physical paperwork. So
Okay.
we would want to just double check that. We can review it and give you our opinions.
Okay, when I talked to Esmeralda, she said it would be okay as long as I got the paperwork in. I was out of the office last week, so everything is being mailed in. I just wanted to present the case to you guys and get your hope to get your approval today, and then everything will be sent in. I did send in an application, and I did send in renderings.
Yes, okay, we see the rendering, so we can review that.
Okay.
Just without an application, there's nothing to send to the board, so it might have to wait for that formal approval. But let's talk about this. Is this a wood carved or painted sign?
Yes, so it's there. It used to be the Pineapple Inn, and the bracket that's there is an existing bracket. So we're going to use that existing bracket, and we're going to install a wood hand-carved sign, painted background with painted copy. Everything on the rendering will be carved or regrouped. So the logo, the word Blue Iris, and then the insert line will be be grooved. It'll be two-sided. The bracket will stay black, and the lettering is white. And the background is Benmore Whipple Blue, which is historic HC 152. Pretty much it.
Okay. The size of the size of the sign has to be limited to 5 square feet. I'm looking at this and I'm coming up with somewhere double that.
Yeah, it's
Am
around.
I right about that? 32 by
It's
Yeah,
like
it's over
10
10.
44. So
Yeah, 10 square feet.
what was the existing sign? Do you have?
The sign was down when I went to survey. So
Okay.
I do not know. The bracket is 38.5 inches long, and the center to centers up there are 24.5. So we're just trying to utilize the existing on that. We can maybe reduce that down a little bit. I think 5 square feet.
Yeah, for a
Projecting sign.
2-story building, a projecting sign is limited to 5 square feet.
Okay.
So that would, depending on, I think it would be hard to maintain the width that you want and keep it as a rectangular vertical sign.
Right.
So you might have to go to a more horizontal nature if you keep the width. I don't, that's something you can play with.
Chris, the original sign was probably of the same width, but it was half the height. It was a rectangular format.
Got it.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, let me open it up to, Mark, do you have any other comments?
I would agree with what has been said. I think that it needs to comply to our guideline in this case. And it may need to be, reapplied for accordingly. I don't have any concern necessarily with the graphics design or even the color palette, but I think it needs to be rethought relative to the 5 square foot limitation.
Okay. Ben?
Yeah, I agree with the size issue. Design looks, the graphics look fine. Color wise, I think the blue is interesting and muted. I like that. I think white feels a little bleached. I think a cream might be a little bit more softer, but I think the size is the underlying issue there.
Okay. Paul?
I have nothing to add.
Okay. So, Mike, I think it would be a good thing to, this would have been held for revisions anyway, so the paperwork will show up, and we recommend we'll hold for revisions is I think the motion that we're going to make. Is that, does somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Oh, there's pineapple.
Second.
Okay. So we'll have Paul making the motion, Mark seconding it. Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul
Aye.
and Mark?
Aye.
Okay, I am as well. So
Thanks for
Mike,
the pineapple.
yeah, Mike, we'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you again and I'm sorry for being late. Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, Esmeralda, we'll give you the floor. How is enforcement?
Enforcement is good. I sent enforcement to, I think it was 149 Orange, and it got resolved. It was roasted with the open flags.
Yeah, and same thing with the sale flags downtown.
Correct. Those got taken down as well.
Nice.
I'm going to correct you, Esmeralda. I went by yesterday and they took all the flags down that we talked about, but now there's one hanging out front and there's
No.
2 window on the inside.
Oh, I haven't been in town.
I don't know that you should make an issue about it, but unless they grow.
Okay. Thank you for the
All
update.
right.
Okay.
So can I ask a general question on sort of enforcement slash maybe cleanup? A lot of the signage we saw that came out during the pandemic was permitted under the emergency order by the governor. Is that accurate?
I believe so. I
And-
think that order's now, it has ended, but I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure.
I believe
would
it's
have
been
to-
lifted as well. And I'm wondering, especially with the onset of spring here, do we now do, I mean, it kind of, everything went sideways. I mean, I know we've seen all kinds of signage now that proliferated over the last 24 months. Are we in a position to start discussing some broader cleanup? And as I walk through town, I mean, I'm just kind of blown away by how much has sort of flowered and blossomed.
Please,
over the last-
please, if you want to start, yeah, I'm okay. I can start
I
sending
think
out
we were holding
letters.
back certainly because of the pandemic, certainly
Correct.
hospitality in restaurants. But I think if indeed, and they've done away, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong on this, on the outdoor dining as well, right?
They have, yes.
So we're kind of getting back to the original standards. And okay, so maybe what we'll do is kind of go back to, you know, on a stroll, or Ben, same, you're downtown as well, maybe on a, just kind of snapping these. I take pictures of them as I walk, if I see them, and
Okay.
I haven't the last couple of years for the reasons stated, but I think now maybe it's the time to go back and do some cleanup.
I agree with that, Mark. Chris, if I could just make a comment. You might recall that the town put up these large 4x8 signs, wall signs that say act now, and then a bunch of stuff you can't read unless you're walking up to it. And they had them on the Rotary, they had them on the little parks on the corner going downtown. I noticed the other day they're all gone. So the town must have taken the, I'm assuming, to take them down. I
Oh, you
called
want them
my,
back?
pardon?
You want them back?
No. But I called my friends at Marine Home Center where there were two on the building, and nobody could tell me where they came from. Somebody from the town said, put them up. So I asked them to take them down. They weren't down yesterday afternoon, but I think it's in the works. So we're moving in the same direction that Mark is talking about. I think it's time to get back to business.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Along those lines, how does everybody feel about the Zoom meetings versus in person?
Love them.
You
Yeah.
like them?
I really
Okay.
do. Yeah, it's so much more efficient in terms of one, being able to participate. I don't feel compromised in terms of being able to read information or graphics. I'm not challenged. Yeah, if we can continue them, I think they work out great.
So-
I may attend more meetings this way than I would be in present.
That being said, we have until July 15th per Governor Baker's order where we can still do Zoom. But I think after July 15th, that might end. But again, it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
But our
Okay.
HDCs are going now hybrid.
Mhm. When will that start?
Okay.
Today, we're starting hybrid today. So we'll be in person at the police station, and obviously if you can't attend, it'd be via Zoom.
Got it.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll see how the next couple months play out, but we won't change anything for the
Okay.
moment.
One last
Great.
point, that elliptical sign,
Yes.
21.2 square feet if you calculate just the ellipse. I don't know if that makes you feel any better. but the number I came up with.
My question is, how'd you do it?
I do it. I had to Google it. I don't know that.
And it's not on the agenda, but I guess enforcement, we can pull it under the gym. We all got that kind of email last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so that was sort of inappropriate for more than one reason. You know, emailing outside of the meeting shouldn't take place, just in general, but and the content of that email was unnecessary, but I guess we'll see what he does. It's too bad. I think we were pretty close to having a mutual agreement there, but does anybody else have a comment on that?
I was just wondering, Esmeralda, did he come in your office or anything beyond that?
No, per the last email, I requested just as a formality, what was he withdrawing? And he said to me that he wasn't, I shouldn't have been asking him, but I told him I'm not part of the board, I'm staff. I need to know what he's doing. And he just said that he was gonna figure it out pretty much. So I haven't heard from him again, and
Okay,
he has not been in the office.
Okay.
We'll keep our eye on that location, I guess, see what happens.
right, that's what I hope it doesn't turn into an enforcement issue, but
Right. All right. Any other motions?
motion
Thank
to
you.
adjourn?
There we go. Do we have
Second,
a second? All right, Mark, you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul,
aye.
Ben,
Thank
thank you, I as well.
All
Goodbye, everybody.
right, thanks, everybody. See
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.